Have you ever stared into the quiet of the night, wrestling with the colossal question, what's the point of it all? We pour our energy into constructing lives, families, homes, even entire legacies. We tirelessly strive to leave an imprint, a narrative that echoes long after we're gone. Why this relentless drive? Peel back the layers, and you'll often find a deeply ingrained human impulse. It's more than just a fleeting anxiety about death. It's a profound unease at the prospect of utterly vanishing. The thought that our entire conscious experience, every laugh, every tear, every unique moment could simply dissolve into oblivion, as if we never existed, can be unsettling. Perhaps you dismiss such concerns, claiming no fear of mortality or obscurity. If so, that's a powerful stance. But let's reframe it then. Isn't there a fundamental yearning for significance, a deep seated desire for our lives to resonate and persist in some form? Whether we label it fear or desire, the lens through which we view it inevitably focuses on one central character: me, my journey, my impact, my ultimate fate. For millennia, humanity has grappled with this profound query about the self, and its eventual conclusion, typically landing on one of two familiar answers. One prevalent perspective, deeply rooted in faith, posits an enduring essence within us, a soul, a spirit that transcends the physical body. This immortal core, the belief goes, simply departs for another realm or incarnation when the body perishes. It's a comforting notion. The eternal conductor of the orchestra remains, even after the instruments fall silent. The second major viewpoint, often championed by modern science and empirical reasoning, suggests our consciousness, our very sense of I, is a mere byproduct of brain activity. When the brain ceases to function, the lights simply go out. Like a flame snuffed by lack of fuel, our individual awareness concludes. Death, in this view, is the absolute terminus. On the surface, these outlooks appear fundamentally opposed, one promising eternity, the other asserting finality. Yet upon closer inspection, they share a critical, often unquestioned assumption. Both stand on the bedrock premise that a distinct, solid self, a true me, exists in the first place. They concur there's a conductor flame. Their only real debate is what happens after the performance. But what if there's an entirely different lens through which to view this? What if the Buddha's profound insights didn't offer an alternative answer, but rather radicalized the very question itself? His path unfurls with a truly mind-bending assertion: you've died countless times, but you can't die. At first blush, it sounds like pure contradiction, a cryptic riddle. But it's no mere wordplay. It's an urgent invitation to peer beneath the surface of our ingrained beliefs, to rigorously examine that central character me, and to pose a question few ever dare: is the conductor even real? To unravel this incredible paradox, we must approach it deliberately. Let's begin with the more readily graspable half of the statement. How is it possible that you've already perished countless times? To comprehend the claim that you've died countless times, we don't need to delve into esoteric mysteries. The most immediate proof resides within your very own biology. Modern science reveals a breathtaking reality. Minute by minute, millions of your cells expire, only to be seamlessly replaced by fresh ones. Your skin, your vital organs, your very bones are in a perpetual state of demolition and reconstruction. Astoundingly, within roughly 7 years, nearly every atom composing your physical form has been exchanged. Pause and let that sink in. The tangible you of just a few years past is, in a profound biological sense, no longer here. Your body isn't a fixed monument, it's a dynamic current, endlessly transforming. Yet, the cellular turnover of your body pales in comparison to the rapid dissolution occurring within your mind. Here, the notion of dying countless times becomes a literal truth, played out in hyper-speed. Buddhist psychology posits that our consciousness isn't a solid block, but rather a dizzying cascade of fleeting mind-moments, each arising unvanishing with astonishing speed. Imagine the briefest blink of an eye within that micro-second. Countless iterations of these moments have already flared and faded. Each mind-moment comes into being, registers an impression, a sight, a sound, a fleeting thought, a shifting emotion, then instantly ceases, giving way to the next. The seamless flow of awareness we perceive is much like a cinematic illusion. A film appears continuous, but it's merely a rapid succession of static frames. Your inner experience functions identically. Each frame a mind-moment is born and dies. So when the teaching asserts you've died countless times, it's no hyperbole. In the mere span of reading this paragraph, innumerable versions of you have arisen and dissolved. The you who began this sentence is already part of the past. This relentless micro-level dying isn't confined to individual moments. It's the very engine propelling transitions on the most expansive scale imaginable, that of entire lifetimes. Each termination of a life, each disintegration of a form, is undeniably a death. Through countless existence within the vast cycle of rebirth, we've undergone innumerable deaths, across diverse forms, human, animal, and realms beyond our immediate comprehension. While each of these instances marked the conclusion of a specific physical vessel and a particular chapter, the underlying flow of consciousness, the stream of experience persisted. This concept of a continuing stream often prompts our minds to leap to the familiar idea of reincarnation. We instinctively picture an unchanging soul, an eternal entity that finishes its tenure in one body, then simply migrates to another. The driver remains constant. However, this isn't precisely what the Buddha illuminated. He presented a distinct, profoundly different concept: rebirth. And this distinction is paramount. Consider an aging candle, its flame flickering, on the verge of extinction. Just before it goes out, you carefully bring a fresh, unlit candle near and let its wick touch the old flame. A vibrant new flame ignites. Is this new flame identical to the old one? No. It's a fresh manifestation, burning on a new wick. But could it exist without the original flame? Absolutely not. It was directly generated by it, born from its warmth, inheriting its inherent qualities of latent heat. That's the essence of rebirth. It's not about an enduring thing, transplanting itself from one life to the next. It's an ongoing, dynamic process, a precise chain of cause and effect. And what, then, is this energy, this quality, that perpetuates itself from one life-candle to the next? This is the force known as karma. Karma isn't some divine ledger tracking good deeds and bad, dispensing cosmic punishments or rewards from a distant, judging entity. It's far more intrinsic, far more natural. Karma is simply the energetic imprint of our intentions, the accumulated momentum of our deepest habits. It represents the profound patterns we forge through our thoughts, words, and actions, which then inexorably propel the very next moment, and ultimately, the next existence into being. Thus, the entire phenomenon we label this intricate interplay of a constantly transforming body and an ever-dissolving mind is, in fact, perpetually dying. This ceaseless flow, this unbroken chain of cause and effect, is maintained and propelled by the energy of our karma. This clarifies quite vividly how you have died countless times. Yet this understanding only deepens the mystery of the paradox's first half. If everything is merely a transient process, always concluding, if there's no fixed driver, no unalterable soul migrating onward, then how can it possibly be true that you can't die? Now we delve into the more enigmatic aspect of this paradox. We've established how we are in a perpetual state of dissolution, moment by moment. How then can it possibly be asserted that you can't die? On a foundational level, the answer echoes our candle analogy, hinting at an unbroken chain of existence. It suggests that the continuous stream of consciousness and karmic energy doesn't simply cease when the physical body fails. It persists. But the Buddhist teaching doesn't stop at mere continuity. It unveils a second, far more profound liberation. To truly grasp this deeper stratum, we must engage in a simple yet radical self-inquiry. I urge you to participate in this brief experiment right now. Where precisely are you? Honestly, try to pinpoint you. Are you localized within your skull? Are you your thoughts? Yet thoughts are ephemeral, always arriving and departing, so that can't be it. Are you your physical form? If a limb were lost, you'd still fundamentally be you, wouldn't you? What about your emotions? Feelings are famously fleeting, shifting like quicksand. The more intently you search for a stable, unchanging you, a definitive core, a central command unit, the more you confront its elusiveness. It's akin to trying to clench a fistful of water. This was a cornerstone of the Buddha's profound realization. He described the person not as a singular, fixed entity, but as a dynamic interplay of 5 continuously flowing aggregates. Envision the experience you identify as me as a mighty river. It appears as a cohesive, powerful whole. But observe more closely, and you'll discern it's actually composed of 5 distinct tributaries merging together. There's the current of the physical body, perpetually in flux. Converging with it is the stream of sensations, the ceaseless flow of pleasure, discomfort, and neutrality. Then follows the stream of perceptions, the continuous act of recognizing forms, sounds, and scents. Next, the potent current of volitional formations, your impulses, your conditioned habits, your intentions, always driving and shaping subsequent moments. Finally, there's the stream of pure consciousness itself, the raw act of knowing that all these other currents are moving. These 5 streams interweave so seamlessly, they forge the convincing illusion of a singular, solid river. Yet here lies the pivotal insight: there is no separate river. There is only the ongoing flow of the individual streams. At this juncture, particularly for those inclined towards logical analysis, a common objection might arise: this is absurd. I never claimed to possess an immutable, unchanging self. You're constructing a strawman argument, and that's a fair point. But consider this parallel: a fish, living its entire existence submerged in water. If you were to ask that fish, what is water? It would likely have no answer. It is so utterly enveloped by water, so intrinsic to its being, that it doesn't even perceive its presence. We too are like that fish. We are so profoundly immersed in the constant, operating sensation of a distinct me, that we fail to recognize it as the very framework of our existence. We don't consciously assert I possess a self, because we embody this belief with every breath, every action, every declaration. Each time you utter I am hurt, or that's my opinion, or I'm proud of myself, you are implicitly affirming the reality of that central I. Remember the primal unease we discussed at the outset, the dread of being forgotten. That's the unmistakable voice of this self, terrified of its potential erasure. And this leads us to the most profound, most liberating secret embedded within the phrase "you can't die." It's precisely because there was never a permanent, solid I, no distinct, separate river present to perish in the first place. The you that you harbor a fear of losing is an intricate, fleeting illusion. It's the transient convergence of these 5 flowing processes. It is a magnificent, intricate, ever-evolving event. But it is not a fixed thing. You cannot extinguish a shadow. You cannot destroy something that was never a substantial entity to begin with. So you see, you can't die holds 2 vital layers of truth. The initial layer confirms the continuation of process. The second, far deeper layer, reveals that the seemingly solid self you're so anxious about losing was never truly there. The first truth describes the intricate game in which we find ourselves caught. The second, deeper truth, illuminates the pathway to transcendence. As this profound truth begins to settle, a more nuanced query often emerges. Some might concede, all right, I can grasp letting go of the small, personal ego. But surely there's a higher self, a true self, perhaps even a divine spark within. This is indeed a beautiful concept, resonating across many venerable spiritual traditions, speaking to a yearning for connection with something vaster. The Buddha's approach honors this sentiment, yet takes an even bolder, more radical step. It proposes that even the idea of a higher self, if clung to can become another subtle form of attachment. It's like breaking free from a cage of iron only to find oneself confined within one of gold. Beautiful, perhaps, but still a cage. The ultimate liberation the Buddha unveiled lies in realizing there are no cages whatsoever. This understanding doesn't diminish you into nothingness. On the contrary, it reveals you as boundless. When you genuinely perceive that you are not a separate confined I, you simultaneously recognize your indivisible unity with the entire cosmos. You are the universe, momentarily expressing itself as you. This perspective doesn't lead to existential void, it fosters an expansive sense of interdependence and profound compassion for all beings. And yet a persistent inner voice might still whisper, even after intellectually accepting all this, but I feel it. I experience myself as in me. My joys, my sorrows, my cherished memories, they are so tangible, so utterly real. How can I possibly dismiss this immediate, undeniable experience? This isn't a doubt to be suppressed, it's the most crucial insight of all. Because the aim of this spiritual journey was never to invalidate your lived experience. Your experience is entirely valid. The heartache is real. The love is real. The sensation of being an I is a genuine feeling. The transformation isn't about denying the experience, but about fundamentally altering your relationship to it. This is precisely the juncture where intellectual comprehension fuses with the path of direct practice. Imagine your inherent awareness as the boundless, clear sky. Now consider all your experiences, your thoughts, your emotions, even that stubborn sense of I as clouds drifting through that expansive sky. The clouds are undoubtedly real. They can be turbulent and dark, or light and ethereal. But you are not the clouds. You are the vast, enduring sky that allows all clouds to appear, traverse, and dissipate, utterly unaffected by their transient nature. The practice then is to learn to abide in your essence as the sky, rather than frantically chasing, resisting, or identifying with every fleeting cloud that crosses your inner landscape. You don't need to banish the clouds. You simply need to perceive them for what they truly are: temporary atmospheric phenomena within the immeasurable expanse of your authentic being. This brings us to the most practical, actionable question of all: if the ultimate aim is to inhabit the reality of the sky, instead of being caught in the illusion of the clouds, what, concretely, is the first step? So how do we integrate this profound understanding into the tapestry of our daily existence? Knowing we are the sky, not merely the clouds, is a beautiful intellectual realization. But how do we truly live from that expansive place? Across various spiritual traditions, a potent, paradoxical directive emerges: die before you die. This isn't a call for physical denies, but a direct, actionable guide for embodying the very liberation we've been discussing. It's an invitation to willingly allow the illusory self, the ego, that incessant inner commentator, the cloud we mistakenly identify as our entire being, to perish while we are still very much alive. Because the ultimate aspiration of this path isn't merely to decipher the mechanics of life and death, but to transcend the entire cycle altogether. The goal isn't to simply not die and remain endlessly cycling through existence. It's to extinguish the very impulse that compels us to be reborn repeatedly. It is to discover a freedom that lies utterly beyond both birth and death. This state is known as Nirvana. It doesn't denote a heavenly abode or a mystical location. Its literal meaning is to extinguish or to blow out. It signifies the profound, unshakable peace that reveals itself when the fires of craving, aversion, and delusion, the turbulent storms of the ego, have been completely quelled. It's the inherent tranquility of the sky, unveiled once all the clouds have peacefully drifted away. So how does one embark on this practice of dying before dying? It's not about a single dramatic epiphany. Rather, it unfolds through a consistent cultivation of small deaths in our everyday lives. The Buddha meticulously charted a practical course, a natural progression for this inner training. It commences with the conscious choice to live with ethical integrity and kindness, which inherently minimizes the creation of agitated, stormy mental states. This commitment to harmlessness naturally fosters a serene clarity within the mind, creating the ideal environment for the cultivation of focused attention. Within this tranquil, stable mental space, we gain the capacity to observe the shifting clouds of our thoughts and emotions as they arise and pass, without becoming entangled or swept away by them. And with a mind thus calmed and steady, we can finally penetrate deeply enough to cultivate profound wisdom, the direct, intuitive insight that these clouds are merely transient weather patterns, distinct from our fundamental nature. This direct perception is what precisely severs the root of all suffering. The journey invariably begins with a simple act of letting go. When you encounter criticism and feel that immediate surge of indignation, that visceral urge to defend yourself, can you permit that impulse to die for just an instant? Can you simply observe the cloud of anger as it passes? When a powerful craving surfaces, a hunger for something you believe will make you happy, can you allow the compulsive need to instantly pursue it to die for a moment, and merely feel the raw sensation of craving itself? Each instance you gently redirect your attention back to the steady rhythm of your breath. You are, for that fleeting second, allowing the noisy self-referential I to dissolve, and you are being reborn into the quiet, boundless reality of the present moment. This is the very essence of the path. It's not about perfecting or aggrandizing a better me. It's a gentle, ongoing process of release, of subtle subtraction. It's a continuous series of these small, voluntary renunciation-ness of the ego. And from that expansive space, born of that letting go, something entirely new can unfurl. A way of living unburdened by fear. A way of being that is intrinsically open, profoundly connected, and truly, deeply alive. This is the ultimate, liberating meaning behind the mind-bending paradox. You learn to die before you die so that, at last, you can truly begin to live.